What's going on, guys? If you are new to my channel, it's super sick to have you here, and if you are not, then thank you for coming back. We have glasses on today, and that is because we are going to be talking about books. Today, I'm going to be doing a book/film review on a book and movie that have been very popular. The book has been popular since about 2019, and the film just recently came out earlier this month. The book/film I will be reviewing today is Red, White, and Royal Blue. Wow, you can't even see that. Hold on. Well, it's Red, White, and Royal Blue. This film specifically has really taken over my For You page. So I heard about the book, maybe a few years ago, right? Everyone on TikTok was talking about it, how good it was. And at that time, I wasn't really into reading. I didn't read a lot. So I never checked it out. And then the film came out, and I'm a big film girly. I love cinema, I love film, I love all of that. So the movie came out, and I was like, oh, definitely gonna check that out, right? So I watched it, and it quickly became an obsession. So I watched the movie, and quite literally the next day, I had my mom take me to Walmart to buy this. And it took me maybe 3 or 4 days to finish this. This book has roughly 400 pages. I've never read a book so fast in my life. That's literally what I was doing the entire day. I was, if I wasn't, I wasn't even on my phone. I was, anytime you saw me, I was either in my room upstairs or outside reading. It was that good, right? So I decided, since I enjoyed this book and movie so much, that what are you doing? I decided, since I enjoyed this book and film so much, that I would review it on my channel, because I know a lot of other people really love this book and movie. So I just want to talk about it. That's really all this is. I don't even know if you can call this a review, because I'm just going to be talking about the book and the movie. I guess that's a review. I mean, I don't know. I will be giving ratings for both, but this is in no way professional. This is me literally needing to release my obsession for this book and film, okay? So I'm gonna start out by saying, if you have not read and or watched Red, White, and Royal Blue, and you plan on doing so, do not watch this video, because there will be multiple spoilers for both. Yeah, so don't watch this if you plan on reading and or watching the movie or the book, because there will be spoilers. Okay. I want to kind of talk about the characters first, specifically the two leads, which is Alex Diaz and Henry Fox. So in the movie, Alex Diaz is played by Taylor Zucar Perez, and Henry Fox is played by Nicholas Gallatin. And I kind of want to talk about this for a second. Okay, don't get me wrong. Taylor, I love Taylor so much. I've loved him since I first saw him in Kissing Booth 2. Marco is obviously the best choice. Who's Noah? We don't know him. But Nicholas Gallatin, I'm so ashamed to say that I did not know who this man was until this movie. That man is gorgeous. Because there's no other way to, first of all, his acting is phenomenal, okay? Granted, I've only seen him in Red, White, and Royal Blue. I haven't watched any of his other movies, but he's made a very big impression on me from this movie alone, okay? I just can't, yes, these two characters were played by Taylor and Nicholas. The way that they portrayed these characters, whoever did casting needs a raise, because they really brought these characters to life from what I saw in the film. I think the casting was perfect, and I don't think anybody else could have portrayed these characters any better. Now, I am a person who I struggle to read books that don't have films. That doesn't mean I don't do it, but I struggle. because I am a girl who loves to watch the movie before I read the book, because I am a very visual person. So if I watch the movie and then read the book, I already have the visual of what the characters look like in my head, right? Even if they describe the characters in the book, I will see a person with no face, which is fine, but I just really need that visual when it comes to reading a book, because it helps me imagine more. Granted, my imagination I think is good whenever I do read stuff, but it just enhances it more for me. So if there's a book that comes out and there's a movie that comes out after it, I will 100% watch the movie before I read the book. That's just me. That's how my brain works. I just wanted to talk about those two, specifically Nicholas, because he's I just can't, like, there's no words to describe. He looks like he was shaped, like sculpted by gods. Like, I can't. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the review for both of these things. Now, really quick, I'm gonna explain the entire plot of the movie and book. Once again, if you have not seen the movie or read the book and you plan on doing so, do not watch this, because I am going to be explaining the entire plot of both. Okay? Okay. Or if you haven't and you want to, know what's gonna happen before you watch or read it, feel free to stay, okay? But I'm just saying, everything is gonna be laid out on the table. There will be spoilers for both. Cool. This book and film is in the point of view of a character named Alex Diaz, and he is the son of the first female president. And then we have Henry Fox, who is the Prince of Wales, and in the film, his grandfather is King of Wales, but in the book, his grandmother is the Queen of Wales, right? Also, if you see me looking down, I wrote notes on my computer. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at, okay? We learned that Alex and Henry are not fans of each other at all. And this stems from I would call it a miscommunication that happened between them when they first met at a event. So he meets Henry at this event, and Henry just isn't having it. He doesn't want to be there, so Alex introduces himself to Henry, and Henry is just like, no. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to be here. So he kind of dismisses him a little bit, and that's where this dislike that Alex has for Henry comes from. So Alex gets invited to the royal wedding where Henry's brother is getting married, and Alex doesn't really want to go because he doesn't really like these fancy events, because he doesn't know what to do. And like in America and England are very different. We have different mannerisms, we have different things that we do that sometimes if we do them in another country, they would be considered rude or weird or something. So he doesn't really want to go to this event because he feels like he'll be an outcast, like he'll be different, like people will be watching him, and people will be watching him because he's a public figure. So that makes him even more nervous that he, won't fit in. We're at the royal wedding and Alex is there, and there is very obvious tension between Alex and Henry. During the wedding, not the ceremony, but afterwards, what do you call it? The reception, I guess. Alex has one too many drinks, and he, when you drink, you get this newfound courage where, like, something you wouldn't normally do when you're sober, you do it when you're drunk or tipsy. He wasn't drunk, I think he was tipsy. So he sees Henry and he goes up to him. He's like, yo, dude, what's up? Like, long time no see, blah, blah, blah. So Henry automatically notices that he is very drunk or tipsy, and he's like, Alex? Trying to be very formal because that's how he has to be. So they automatically begin bickering. Alex makes a comment on the cake and how much it costs. Henry makes a comment about his shoes, and it just, they butt heads.
Did your parents send you to snobbery school, or does looking down on people just come naturally to you?
Well, in your case, I would say it's rather inevitable.
We are the same height.
If you say so, Alex. Great to see you.
You too, Your Majesty.
Actually, it's Your Royal Highness, Your Majesty's reserved for the king. Oh, thank you for the etiquette lesson. Desperately in need of one.
So one thing leads to another, and they somehow end up on the floor with this, like, the cake cost 75,000 pounds in England, which in American dollars would be around $94,300. Just think about that. Like, can you imagine paying that much for a wedding cake? I mean, they have the money for it, so I mean, duh. And it's the royal family, so they're gonna go all out. But dude, that's a lot of money for a wedding cake. They end up on the floor with this cake on top of them, right? Everyone's watching, everyone's snapping pictures, everyone's like, wow, did that really just happen? It obviously goes viral. People post it on social media, the press prints stories on it, blah, blah, blah. Alex goes home, and his mother is not angry, but I'm obviously upset because she sent him to this wedding to cause no problems, and this happens. Like, the worst thing that could probably happen happens. So his mother, who is running for president, sent him on a damage control mission to patch this up, to make people believe that him and Alex are actually friends and this was just a miscommunication between them. So he goes on this damage control thing, and they have to spend a lot of time together. They have to, you know, be seen together. They, you know, go to a children's hospital together. They, you know, do all of this stuff. While they are at the children's hospital, something happens. Like, these popping sounds go off, and they have to be shoved into a closet because they think they're gunshots, and they have to spend amount of time in there before their security team can clear the area, make sure no one's shooting, trying to, you know, harm them. And in while they're in the closet, they have this very, I don't want to call it an intimate moment, but have a conversation about, so Henry asks him why he dislikes him.
Why'd you dislike me?
Because he clearly doesn't know, but he just knows that he doesn't like him. Alex doesn't like him, so he doesn't like Alex. So Henry expresses to him that...
Climate conference in Melbourne, first night party. I went to introduce myself to you, and you looked at me like I had headlights. Then you turned to your equerry and said, "Get me out of here."
And Henry's like...
I could have been nicer.
So this is kind of where we start to see Henry's side of why he dislikes Alex, because we already knew why Alex didn't like Henry, but we weren't sure, or we didn't know why Henry didn't like Alex.
I'm sorry I was a prick to you. It's no excuse, but I was a prick to everyone in those days. My brother died a few months before, and the palace insisted on parading me around.
After this, they spend much more time together. Whatever, you know, Henry gets invited to Alex's New Year's Eve party, and we start to see the development of their feelings for each other. Henry confesses to Alex at his New Year's Eve party that he does in fact have feelings for him, but he doesn't say it through words. They're talking, and, you know, he's trying to tell Alex that he likes him without really saying it.
Be a writer. Live in Paris. Certainly date more.
And Alex is just like...
Yeah, because it's so hard for a prince to get a date.
And he's like...
People I date don't interest me, and the people who interest me, I can't date.
And Alex is very drunk at this point, so he's like, yo, Henry, like, you're not speaking English, like, I don't know what you're trying to say. And Henry, tired of trying to explain it to him in words, decides to kiss him.
Christ, you're as thick as it gets.
And that pretty much says it all. So after this, he's not talking to him, and then Alex is like, oh, what do I do? Like, do I like Henry? I didn't really think I would like him. They end up seeing each other at another event, and Alex expresses to Henry that he reciprocates his feelings for him. As we move through the motions, you know, they both know they like each other, and they want to continue seeing each other, but they both know that they have to keep their relationship on the down low.
I wouldn't mind doing this again.
Me neither. We just have to keep it very casual, of course.
They decide that they want to keep seeing each other, but they keep it on the down low. So they, you know, kind of sneak around to see each other. They invite each other to different events just so they can see each other. And it's cute, you know? Like, it's like, you feel like a teenager again when, like, you know you're not supposed to be meeting someone, but you, like, sneak around to do it. It's very fun at first, right? As they are sneaking around, they aren't being particularly careful. They're being careful, but not as much as you would think as two very public figures. So of course a few people that are close to them find out, but nobody finds out that would intentionally want to hurt them, so it's fine. But they, you know, a lot more people are finding out than they wanted to. Once Alex's parents find out, they're very accepting. They really don't care that he's bi. He also figures out that he's bi. They don't really care that he's bi. They just want him to be very careful because they, once again, are public figures, and a relationship like this could really define who he is in the sense of other people. Like, the people will peg him as a certain type of person. He decides to invite Henry to go on vacation with him and his family. So they go on vacation, right? And they're having a good time, and he talks to his father about Henry. And his dad, you know, doesn't care. He likes Henry. He basically tells him, and this is quoted in the, I think it's in the book, but I know it's in the movie, that sometimes you have to just jump and hope you're not on a cliff, which basically means you just have to take a chance, right? You never know what's gonna happen until you do it. So Alex takes this newfound courage to tell Henry that he's falling in love with him. They are finally alone, they go swimming, and he decides to take this moment to attempt to tell Henry that he's falling in love with him, or that he is already in love with him.
I never felt this way about anyone. It's like there's a rope attached to my chest and it keeps pulling me towards you. I feel so right.
And as he's about to tell him, you can tell that Henry is really in his head about this. He's like, he knows that they're not supposed to love each other this way. Like, his whole plan at the beginning was to not fall in love with him because he knew they couldn't love each other the way they wanted to. But you can tell that Henry is falling in love with him too, but he doesn't want to, because that's hard. Like, being very public figures and being gay and bisexual could be a problem potentially for them and their families. So before Alex can confess to him, he runs away and flies back to London. So after about a week of not hearing from Henry, Alex is kind of going crazy, you know, as one would when you love someone and they just run away without an explanation. You're like, well, did I do something wrong? You know, like, what's happening? Why aren't you talking to me? Like, right. So he decides to fly to London to confront him face to face. He flies to London and he demands that he speaks to Henry. Henry agrees to meet with him, and when they meet, they're in this argument, and it's a very, very, very important part in both the book and the movie. You know, it's kind of the climax of it all, in my opinion. I mean, it might not be the climax, but to me it is, because it's like they're really, really passionate about these feelings that they have for one another. So they're in this argument, and Alex is telling Henry,
I've been losing my mind this week because the man I love has vanished from my life without an explanation. I flew across an ocean. I stormed a fucking castle to look you in the eye and tell you that I love you, knowing that you wouldn't say it back.
Henry is telling Alex,
I'm not like you. I can't afford to be reckless. I wasn't raised by a loving, supportive family like you were. My life is the crown, and yours is politics, and I will not trade one prison for another. I can love you and want you and still not want that life.
all in all, after the argument, they end up, you know, talking it out, having a talk, and Henry decides that his love for Alex is worth it. So he asks Alex,
Please be patient with me, and I promise I will try and be brave for us. Because when I write the history of my life, I wanted to include you in my love for you.
so naturally, Alex is very supportive of him. He's like, I love you, and I will be patient for you, for us, so that we can be together. After that, Alex gets back on a plane, goes back to America to resume his, you know, political duties, helping his mom with her campaign. And right when you think that everything is okay and like they're gonna, you know, work it out, their emails that they would send back and forth to each other get leaked. And if you've read the book, these emails were very, very, very personal. They don't really capture how personal these emails were in the movie, but in the book, these emails were very personal. So they get leaked to the press, and you know, just like that, they're in their first scandal ever. So everyone knows that Alex Diaz and Henry Fox are potential lovers, right? This changes everything for both of them. I mean, this really, it obviously detrimentally affects Alex and Henry, but it also affects Alex's family, which is his mom's campaign, and like her voters, and who and how people will vote for her, right? But it affects Henry's family too. It affects the way they see him and how they view him as a person. So once this whole scandal drops or whatever, and the emails are out, they are forbidden to see each other for them at the moment until they figure out what they're gonna do and how they're gonna resolve this. And so Zara, who is the president's assistant, is like, you know what, screw this. So she calls up Henry's equerry, Sean, and she's like,
Sean Travastova, this is our Bankston. Look, I know we said we'd only use these phones in an emergency. Well, welcome to that emergency. I've got the first son in my office moving over the prince like a cow in labor, and I'm not going to get any work done until you put these two lovesick homosexuals on the phone with one another. I don't care what any of those wrinkled white men at Buckingham Palace have to say about it. I want you to march your skinny, perfect ass over to the prince, hand him your phone, or so help me God, you will never see me naked again.
So they end up getting to talk on the phone.
Hello? Alex.
And Henry's like, are you okay? Like, how are you? And Alex is just like, what? Like, I'm fine. Like, how are you? And Henry is very obviously struggling, as you can imagine. So he's like, I'm not okay. Like, I'm not okay. So Alex is like, in that moment, he's like, okay, I'm gonna fly to London to see you. You know, I don't really care what other people say. I need to see you. I need to be there for you, and you need to be there for me, because obviously they both need support, but Henry is in a much more vulnerable space than Alex is. So he flies to London, and they have this talk, and Henry really has this talk with Alex, and he feels like his people hate him, his family hates him, they don't accept him for who he is, they only love the idea of him and not who he is as a person. And the king/queen, because it's different in the film and the book, schedules a meeting with them to meet with both Alex and Henry. So once they meet with the king/queen, they automatically are just like, okay, we're gonna deny these accusations. Like, these are not true. Everything was, you know, made up by the press. Like, they just want to make your name look bad. And Henry is like, well, I don't want that, because they're not accusations, they're the truth, and I don't want to be protected from this. I just want you to support me through it. And obviously, as a king or queen would do, they're like, you need to deny this. Like, we need to keep the royal family in a positive light. We don't want this tainting our name. And he or she automatically assumes that the people will not accept him at all. They're like, they won't accept this. You just need to deny it. Well, to their surprise, the people are there to support Henry. They are 100% behind him. They don't care that he's gay. They don't care that he's dating the son of the president. They're just like, we love Henry. He's our prince, and we support him. So this comes very much as a shock to everyone. They end up being together because the people are there to support him. So why can't they be together, you know? So at the end, you know, they're able to be together. They are able to love each other publicly. So that's kind of how it ends. And in the book and the movie, it's very rom-com-y, and there is drama in there, but it's really good. And I really enjoyed both this book and this movie, because I see a lot of people and they're like, oh, this movie's corny, well, whatever. But I think it's so cute, because I think when you think about LGBTQ representation in movies, a lot of it can be very, very dark and realistic. You know, if you think about Pose, that is just the first show that came up in my mind. If you haven't seen Pose, it's about the LGBT community and like drag queens and all that, and they, you know, Vogue for, I don't know if it's a living. I've never seen the full show. My mom watched it and I saw parts of it, but that show can get very dark, and it talks about very real topics when it comes to like AIDS and how specifically people of color part of the LGBTQ community were treated. That is a very dark representation of the LGBTQ community. And I think when it comes to that type of representation, we also need very lighthearted, I guess cheesy things like that, because it's cute and not everything has to be so dark and realistic, you know? Okay, so now that I've explained the entire plot of the movie / film, I'm gonna talk about some of the differences that there are in the book / the film, because there are very, very, very clear differences in both. So, one, the first difference that I first noticed, June, who is Alex's sister in the book, is not in the film. The absence of her character affects the plot a little bit in the movie, because there was this whole thing between her and Prince Harry in the beginning of the book where he danced with her at the royal wedding and people speculated that they were dating. And she also, later in the book, tried to help cover up Alex and Henry's relationship, which ended up failing. But that was her role in the book, and she played a very big role in this book. But in the film, she's not in it, so Nora, who is the granddaughter of the vice president, takes on a lot of her traits in the film. The next difference I noticed was Alex's parents in the book are divorced. Ellen has a new husband, his name is Leo, and Oscar, Alex's dad, is not in a relationship, I think, but they are divorced in the book. And this doesn't really change the plot either, other than the fact that, Alex doesn't see his father as much, and he's not as present in his life. Another character that wasn't in the movie was Senator Raphael Luna, who honestly played a very big role in the book, because Alex is a aspiring politician in the book, and he really looks up to Raphael because he is everything he wanted to be, because Raphael is also part of the LGBTQ community, and he kind of is, he was the first out senator, so Alex sees himself in him, and he really looks up to him and aspires to be him. Who takes his place, I feel, in the movie is Miguel Ramos. In the movie, he is a political reporter who has hooked up with Alex one time, and so every time he sees him, he tries to get information out of him about the campaign. Senator Raphael is the one that outs Alex in the book. The only thing that it changes in the plot is that Alex doesn't really have a role model, other than, I guess his mother, who he very looks up to and wants to be. But in the book, I think Raphael was a very important character in Alex's development, and this is a smaller character change that doesn't really affect the plot at all. But in the book, Alex's high school best friend / situationship, Liam, is not in the film. But I do think it also in the book kind of played a big role, because it kind of helps Alex discover his sexuality when he starts to question his feelings for Henry. He is a very big role in helping Alex discover his sexuality, but he's not in the film. So the way Alex discovers his sexuality in the film is fully through Henry and through other guys, because he hooked up with Miguel and Liam. He is mentioned in the film, actually. He mentions that he was with a guy in high school, but he doesn't call him by name. Something else I want to talk about. So Nora, who is a character in both the book and the movie, some of her background is kind of erased in the movie. So in the book, we talk about Nora and she talks about her sexuality, and in the book she is bisexual. And this isn't talked about a lot in the book, but it is mentioned when, Alex goes to talk to her about his sexuality. He asks her, well, how did you know you were bisexual? And she's like, I don't know, I just kind of knew. That's something that in the book I think was a good detail when it also came to helping Alex figure out his sexuality. Another thing that isn't mentioned is her dating history with Alex. So in the book, I was surprised to find out that they actually dated in the past. They don't talk about that a lot either. They just mention that they did date, but that's not mentioned in the film. I guess it's not really an important detail, but it is mentioned in the book and it's not in the film. So another big thing that people made a big deal about on TikTok is the Cornetto scene. So in the book there is a scene between Alex and Henry, and it's not in the movie, but it would be early in the movie if they put it in, where Alex is sent to London for his damage control mission, and he's staying at Kensington Palace, and he's in the kitchen on the phone with Nora, and they very much are still enemies at this point. I think this scene would have been so great in the movie, only because it still shows, it really extends out the development of their relationship, because if you watch the scene, if you pay attention to Henry's expression, it's very like, he knows that he's in love with Alex, but he can't say it, so he's kind of just like expressing it through frustration and aggravation. I think that scene, they really should have kept that scene in the movie, because when I first watched Red, White, and Royal Blue, I did think that the beginning was very fast-paced. I thought that their kind of enemies era was very rushed, and they did become lovers very quickly. Granted, I still love the movie, but I think they could have extended out that enemies portion a little more, just to give it more of a slow burn effect. So the big argument between Alex and Henry, the book scene and the movie scene are very different. Granted, I think the argument scene in the film is very well done. I think they show a lot of passion and frustration in that scene, and I think it's very well done between the actors and the directors. The way they filmed it, it was amazing. But in the book, that scene was amazing, and it's different because, first of all, when Alex gets to London, he is standing outside of the palace, and he's, demanding to see Henry, and he's angry, so he's screaming. So when he finally gets to see Henry, they have the argument, and in the book, Henry gets frustrated with Alex, and he pushes him up against the wall, and he's like, tell me to leave, and then I'll leave, and they end up making love. And when I read it, I was like, why did they not put this in the movie? And honestly, it's not super important to the argument. I mean, like, that's just something they decide. I mean, it shows passion, how much passion they have for each other, because even if they're angry at each other, they can still love each other, because he knows that this might be the last time that they get to be together in this way. And I just loved the way that the scene played out in the book. Like, it's just good. Like, I just love it. And this very last difference, it doesn't affect the movie at all. I just think it's a very funny mention, is Alex and Henry's height difference. So in the book, Henry is supposed to be taller than Alex, but in the people that they casted for the roles, Taylor and Nicholas, Taylor is just this much taller than Henry, so it doesn't affect anything in the plot or whatever, but I just think it's funny to see them, bicker over who's taller. So after going over all that, I'm finally going to give my ratings for the book and the film, and I'm going to explain why I rated them each this way. So I'm rating them out of 1 through 5 stars. So for the book, I'm giving this book a 5. 5 stars. I think this book is so well written. It's a really good read. Like, if you haven't read it, read it. I think it's very good. I think it's, funny, it's playful, it has the drama you want, it has the passion you want. I think it's a very good read, and I don't regret buying this at all. The one thing I regret about buying this book is that I wanted the cover with the actors on it, with Taylor and Nicholas, and when I went to go look for the book, I only saw this one, so I bought it. And then when I went back to Walmart, like maybe 2 weeks later, they had the cover with them on it. So that's the only thing I regret. But other than buying the book itself, no regrets. This is probably something I would definitely reread over and over again, just because it's that good. And for the film, I'm giving the film a 4. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore this film. I love it so much, and I will continue to rewatch it as many times as I can. But I understand that when it comes to movies, you can't put every single detail that the book has into the film because you can only make a movie so long, right? But I do think some details that they took out of the film took away from the storyline and the plot line. Like the Cornetto Scene. I think that would have really added to the movie because it would have really helped to extend their enemies phase and like build up the anticipation for them to become lovers. Other than that, the film is amazing, and I think that they couldn't have done it any better other than just adding those few little details. So that is my review, if you want to call it that, for Red, White, and Royal Blue, the book and the film. If you have not read this book or watched this film, do that. It changed my life for the better. With that being said, that is all I have to say about this book and film. I have nothing but good things to say about this, and this is me recommending that you watch the film and read the book. So that is all for this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have anything to say about Red, White, and Royal Blue. If you just want to share your opinion, if you think my opinions are wrong, if you think I missed something, let me know, and I would love to just read that. Also, let me know what you would rate the film and the movie and why you rated those things, because I'm interested to see what other takes people have when it comes to this specific story. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want me to do more book reviews or movie reviews, I would so be down for that because this is really fun, and I am now getting back into my reading era. Like, I'm reading more than I ever have in my entire life, and I'm really enjoying it. So if you have any books you want to recommend to me that you think I should read and review, totally leave those down below. And same thing with movies. I love watching movies, so if you have any movies that you want me to watch and review, I will totally do that also. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and rewatch this, right? Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.